Jack of Hearts take two.
Then
But
just
we
sing
will,
it yourself, Mike.
Tangled up in Sour Patch
don't bring
Kid
me into
Blue
that.
Balls.
I could.
Please, please.
Tangled up in blue.
I just
So
want
we're
to tell
going to
you
talk about the
guys-
law a little bit, aren't we? Let's do it. Okay,
I think that we should.
Prop 1.
Proposition
Would you
1.
like me to throw something out, or you got something over there?
Ballot proposal 18.
I got it, but I want to hear you. Let's go. I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
And I don't blame you for wanting
See me
to hear
from below.
So we talked about it
Pull it
earlier,
up.
and this is a common question, common discussion. The
Opt-in, out.
Nope.
No, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act,
Okay.
through the licensing, affords possession of a certain amount. Now this new law provides for possession of a certain amount. Do they?
Is there
Let's do
stacking?
this.
Is there stacking?
Wait,
Can you stack them?
Before we get to the interplay, let's clarify what one is now free to do under the Michigan Medical Marijuana. Okay? One, you can grow 12 plants, an individual. For now,
Correct.
just talking from the act. If someone is
Correct.
not a patient or caregiver and they're an adult.
Just an adult, 21.
Over 21.
Yeah.
They can grow 12 plants. Those plants have to be in an enclosed-like facility within the home.
Or outside, as long as they're not
There's an
in the
outside
And
grow.
only 12 per household.
Only 12 per household.
Right.
There's an outdoor requirement. It does not include visual from ground level.
Right.
I think that the visual issue may be something people need to consider because,
From a publicly accessible place.
and which
Second
could be
story.
on top of a second-story house, looking
Next
into the
door.
window,
It could be.
which is not necessarily something someone would have to worry about as a patient or caregiver, right? So, roofing over a facility for an outdoor 12-plant grow, maybe. You know, it's a shame that might be something, but. And okay, so then in terms of you harvesting the 12 plants, whether outdoor or whatever, indoor, from those plants grown on that property, you're allowed 2.5 ounces of marijuana. Wait, 2.5 ounces of marijuana that you can carry around, okay? And any amount of marijuana, as long as it's locked and enclosed, from that grow.
Right. Even if it's 100 pounds, if those 12 plants grew you 100 pounds, you can keep it locked up.
10 ounces out and about.
Yeah,
at
10
home.
ounces out and about
And
at home.
10 ounces out and about that's ready for immediate
Like in
ingestion.
your refrigerator or something. The rest has to be
An ounce
under
in
lock
every
and
room,
key.
handy
Yeah.
at any moment.
Yeah.
just
But-
in case.
and
Two and a
that-
half in your
2.5
pocket,
in
10
your
ounces
pocket.
on the dining room table.
Ready to
Yeah.
go.
And even though
Wound
we've
it
been
up.
told
Locked and loaded.
that anytime you find 10 ounces of marijuana sacked in packs, is that even a thing? I don't know. Packed in sacks? I don't know. You know, sacked up?
Sacks.
Whatever.
Reasonable.
Whatever. When you see that, it is... I can think of the thousands of judges that said to me, counsel, the way it was packaged lets me to believe it's possessed with the intent to deliver, not for personal use. I'm biting your client over
It's a new
on the
day,
charges
Michael. It's a
complaint.
new day.
Okay,
Yeah.
what I'm
Even
saying
if
is...
that's true now, it's only
10 ounces pack. I know. I'm saying this. And to those who said 10 ounces in a sack is possession.
Get your money
Allowed
back.
at your house.
It depends. Is it in one sack or is it in 10 sacks?
You can have even
It could
more than
be
10
in
ounces.
it could be in grams.
You can
Isolated
But-
in air
but the law
packs
has
in a big
changed
bag.
now.
I'm
So
saying
now-
in a
yeah.
big bag. It's 10
So
ounces
how do we change the
without
cups?
packaging. Right, with packaging, maybe 20 ounces. I'm not trying to create this. But, you know, they got this.
It could be
It looks
taped
like
to
it looks
various
like it's
body
possessed
parts.
with the intent to deliver.
But
it looks like you're taking it out and giving it to somebody.
No.
What
if
about
it's
the
locked up in
stacking?
your home.
Well, you got sidetracked down to talking about something
stacking.
else. The
This is important,
stacking
the
was the
stacking.
question before you.
Stacking.
Can you stack the 12 from
Plants in
Top of the
possession.
seven.
Are we
72.
clear about the?
Okay.
Okay. Are we clear about the total quantities and what can be done?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll come back to driving later on. Okay. There's language in here that speaks to this.
Let's hear it.
The language.
Rick was just stared down.
Was I?
Yes, by Michael.
No, I wasn't.
The dagger eyes.
Well, all other laws inconsistent with this act do not apply to the conduct that is permitted by this act, suggesting that any other laws that prohibit this particular behavior would thus be
prohibited.
from interfering with this act. Okay, and then there is also a clause that discusses the clear articulation that any person's rights under the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act will not be impeded in any way by their or someone else's adult recreational use of marijuana. I'm
So
going
the
to
answer is
call
yes.
that and find that. So you could stack, arguably, but let's talk about what that would mean.
It's going to be
this is not
challenged
legal.
likely, though, right? In real life, it's going to be
I'm
challenged.
sure it'll be
This is
challenge.
not legal advice. We're discussing what the law says. I could have told you that 2.5 ounces of usable marijuana meant that it's got to be dried, okay? But look where we are 10 years into it, that it's unusable is not even allowed to be possessed. But I'm telling you what the language says. Maybe there's some challenges. Hopefully not. Hopefully they will give up. And maybe we want to believe our Attorney General will ensure that, or to do all she can to ensure that some insanity like this is not continued on, etc. But with that being said, let me find the specifics here about the.
Right.
That is done.
Smell is
I
not
found
probable.
that it is,
Smell is-
listen, that is
smell is-
articulated within this law.
Smell
Let
is
me
not
tell you.
probable cause any longer.
By passage of this, I'll show you where.
Yeah, I read that also. Recently. I read it originally.
Yep.
But there's so much in it.
Once we're done with that, can we talk about them?
There's a lot of good.
We're not getting to-
No, no, we're still
We're
talking
still
about
talking about this
stacking.
issue.
This
We're
a
talking
lot of
about
people
the
are
stack.
It's
asking
taking a
about
while
this.
to get to
Yeah.
climax.
Yes
on
or
this
no
one.
on
It's gonna
People-
be really worth it when we get
This
to
is the
it.
number one debated issue that I've
hoping.
been seeing on social media. Is people want to know about this. Is it in addition to the 72 plants? And from what Michael's told us,
Well, I know
not
that
giving
being,
legal advice, it looks like it is. I
know
think
that
it is.
when I thought about it, when I was in the room with other people discussing this, the intent
Exactly.
was not to impede on on the other
Exactly.
program. It was to create this new set of rights. The other program
Exactly.
But it
requires-
doesn't impede on the other program. We had this argument before.
It would impede on it if I had to deduct 12 of my plants away from that.
Well, no, but you don't have to deduct 12. You can still keep.
It doesn't allow me to participate in the recreational then. I'm not able to participate in the recreational.
So?
Michael
Joshua.
just read us the act that said
No,
that
I'm
we
saying,
can.
I'm saying
No, he
you
didn't
should
say
be
that.
able- that
That's
was
not
the
what he
intent-
read.
the intent
He
was-
did not say that you
I
can.
said
be
about
able
other
for that to
laws.
be-
That's a
conflicting-
generous
I'm going to
understanding.
read exactly what it says. Hold
Somebody
on.
could grow their 72, but then it wouldn't impede on another person in the household having the 12.
So
Or that
if I
same person
say
will
a
keep
friend
growing
of mine was a
additional
caregiver and decided that, and her husband wanted to grow the 12 plants, so there could be 84 plants in the household. Then are you saying no?
I think even that caregiver could add the 12.
You got to talk into the microphone.
So the caregiver could have 72, 12, and the husband could have another 12, and what does that add up to? 84, 96.
Only 12, yeah.
Here we go. Section 2. This act does not limit any privileges, rights, immunities, or defenses of a person as provided in the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act 2008, MCL 333-26421 to 26430, the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act, Public Act 281. I'm thinking of Alan Peisner right now. I don't know why he came to mind. He wants to call in and talk about this probably. Alan, shout out. MCL 333-27101 to 27801, or any other law of the state allowing for or regulating marijuana for medical use. This act does not limit any of those privileges in any way, shape, or form to immunities or defenses. That means that the existence of this law, theoretically, would not limit the activities of a patient or caregiver, which is a law, or anyone else acting within the regulated system.
What happens if a patient who's allowed 12 plants and then he has 12 rec plants, can he grow those in the same grow fenced area? Or would that make him have 24 plants under medical?
I think
This is the same question.
Isn't the first question, can he grow both under the rec and
This
the
is
medical?
the same
We're trying to
question.
get
It's
to,
the same
yes.
question. We're just using different
Well,
plans.
no, it's not. It's not.
Seeing if they
Hey,
can
listen,
mingle.
it is not the same question. The
Right,
question
taking it a
is,
step further.
can you
Right,
have
that's what I'm
that
trying to
total
start
number
with
of
first.
plants? We're not even at whether they could be commingled yet.
I want
right?
to repeat that this is all just talk.
Can you have-
This
But I was
isn't-
right,
This
this
is
is
not
not
Can
legal
you
Legal
have-
advice.
the question is, can you have medical plants in addition to recreational plants? That's the question. On top of your...
What I would say is that if you
not
don't
based on
want
the
to have
language
to
he's
be a
reading.
test case, you don't do it. But if you want to, do I think so? Doesn't matter.
Would
I'm
you
gonna
be able to
what I
defend
think
that?
doesn't matter. Could I tell you? Yes, I could.
yeah.
I could defend it, but who wants to pay me in when marijuana is legal to do that?
The
right?
conservative thing
you
to
want
do
it
is
for free
not
'cause I love you,
push
you
the
know that.
envelope.
Michael,
on it.
isn't that
Like
like
I'm not
I
gonna
live
push
like
it.
9,000
I'm not gonna
people.
push it.
You know, so check this out. So where's the penalty? So somebody grows their 72 under Michigan Medical Marijuana Act on the registry and licensing,
Right.
and then they have 12. How much are they over now, and how?
And what's the penalty?
And now under the rec, they're not. It's not even a civil infraction until you're up to 24. I mean, how is?
Well, I'll
how,
tell you why,
know,
because
if there is conflict, or if they can't, you know, if you
All right.
can't just have the rights on top of each other, how would you then make a penalty for somebody?
All right, you're asking for me to put myself in the sadistic position of a psychopath who's been interpreting the Michigan medical marijuana in the total opposite way and import those same feelings and emotions and lack of.
So, but that's what it will
into
take.
Right. Well, that's what's going to happen. I learned long ago you shouldn't just read it and think it's going to be what it is. You have to
Exactly.
think sadistically. You got to put yourself in the shoes. So
Nobody's arguing that. We've all experienced that. But
Okay.
but as the law is,
you want me to tell you?
Right.
This is not a amendment to the public health code. Marijuana remains illegal in Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Still
Schedule 1
Schedule 1.
controlled substance.
This is an exemption to certain behavior, assuming you're in compliance, my friend. And, for example, if you have 72 plants and your door's unlocked, bam, you lose your immunities. And you are now felonized for all the shit in the house. So 72 now jumps on top of your 12, right? You went to 84. You don't need, maybe the first 12 of your 72 over, they'll take off for a fine and charge you with the remaining 60. That's a 7-year felony, 20 to 200 plants.
First
manufacturer.
offense.
Wouldn't you want
not,
to?
not,
public
su-
health
not
code,
surprised if
that's
this
right.
if this still is
Probably
tried
put-
if this still is tried in some places, but I think these days are waning.
Yeah, I think so too.
Wouldn't you?
Well,
in
it's
that,
interesting
In that
bec-
situation, just want to say that it's all recreational because then at least it's not.
Listen,
punishable
I
by
am
the
not
executive
arguing this
decision.
position.
That's
I am
what you
playing
say. You throw your hands up and
unique
say it's all
position.
recreational.
So I think the limits. You show up to the 84 plants, after passage, and how do you now assess that there is something wrong here?
Now, if you have a medical card, now you violated the MMMA, and that's how it goes. If you got a medical card and you possess greater
Why-
than
why
72
would-
plants, and since you didn't amend the MMMA, that rule still stands,
I
right?
thought about that.
You
The
break
default-
the
that's-
MMMA, your ass is grass.
Yep, and that's how they're going to apply it. And they're going to say, and what you'll probably do if you're smart is plea to the recreational violation because it's a misdemeanor with no jail.
I
But it only
think
covers-
I think you challenged that somebody took your rights away
was
to have those
Josh's
12
advice.
plants, which you clearly have. So therefore, you could have
Listen,
84.
we're talking
plants.
about this. If one is
If you let
exercising,
the cop make that arbitrary decision that isn't compliant with the rights that have been afforded to people after this goes into effect, then yeah, fine. But I think you challenge that.
For that-
Possession of the
listen.
card implies that you're going to follow those rules regardless of what other laws change around there. Those rules were inviolate.
Right, you do, and then you do.
You do, and then you do more.
well, listen,
No, you follow those rules, and then you also take advantage of the rights that you have as well.
Jamie, I'm not.
Exactly.
Please understand
You
these.
do
is
more
not-
because you can. Because now you can. You couldn't before, but
and
now
you want
can.
to, so
No.
you will.
You
So-
can. And
so
again,
my-
this
my-
is
I'm
not
gonna talk.
legal
Gosh, you get
advice.
it.
Otherwise,
this
why do we
is-
just pass this?
Isn't this
There's a
like a
disclaimer,
unilateral
folks.
direction though? Like
Well, go ahead. Everyone else talk. Don't let me finish my
the,
point.
re-
You make your point.
the recreational law doesn't inhibit any of your rights under the Medical Act, but
Good point. I said that earlier.
does the
Keep
Medical
going.
Act? The Medical Act doesn't necessarily say
But
that
is it additive?
prevents-
That's the question. Or is the prosecutor coming in and applying? Okay.
How
are
about
they,
this?
Are they
How about
eligible
this?
for the
How about this?
exemption under the act?
I am sadistic
Are they eligible
prosecutor
for the
now.
exemption under the rec law?
Here you go.
Nope.
I'm a sadistic
exactly.
prosecutor. I didn't want to say these things. It could be like, okay, here you go. Ready? Recreational conflicts with the MMMA. Pick one.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the common interpretation.
Not
Pick one.
surprised
No,
that
for
somebody's gonna
avoiding
try
one.
that. Right.
For avoiding one,
Rec.
pick your fucking poison. Right? That's one. Two, the immunities of the MMMA apply only if you're in absolute compliance. And even if you have 12 rec, but you're still not locked and closed, you got more than 2.5 ounces of you, or, God forbid, you're possessing unusable marijuana, which today is illegal. So
I don't think
you
it-
do that, right? And then they take your 72 plants and they take 12 off, throw it onto the 12 that you have legal. Now you got a fine. Okay, you got 60 plants. remaining.
Nobody's. I don't think that I'm too naive to believe that it would be misapplied in that way, but misapplied nonetheless. I think is the point.
We're not saying whether it's miss or slightly or we're sadistically
I understand.
bending this. Now, I pointed out these other prosecutors' offices that have dismissed, and you would think that there would be a direction there. But in Kent County, well, like for example, the guy in Allegan, that story that Rick knows, they were delivery cases. Okay, deliveries. From sales from alleged businesses,
Undercover.
to CI carded or not carded cops or whatever, patients with cards that weren't connected. This Kent County specific about possession. We're still going to go after underage because that's not protected, and we're still going to go after delivery and possession, intent to deliver, manufacturing. Those are still on the table, according to them, even though they're not really considering PWID could be off the table because, as we said earlier, possession of 10 ounces out that's usable in a bunch in some safe or room somewhere that looks like it's packaged and ready to go to Colombia or whatever. Is still an amount that one's allowed to have.